Hello and welcome to Stories, the True and the Fictional, the podcast that revolves around one central theme, stories and the people that tell them. We'll talk about movies, TV shows, video games, historical events and weird news headlines. There's really no topic we won't touch. But it doesn't stop there. If you've got a story, something funny or random that may have happened to you or a friend, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. Until then, it's story time. A power ballad written for Cat Graham by Chatgpt. I see you standing there with your head held high. You're a force to be reckoned with, a star that shines so bright. Cat Graham, you're a force of nature, a power ballad in human form. You inspire us all to be better with your strength and your grace. You faced your share of battles and you've come out on top. Your courage and your resilience are qualities we all can adopt. Cat Graham, you're a force of nature, a power ballad in human form. You inspire us all to be better with your strength and your grace. Sing it with me if you know the words. When the world tries to bring you down, you rise above it all. Yes. Your spirit and you're unbreakable. Your heart is full of love. Cat Graham, you're a force of nature, a power ballad in human form. You inspire us all to be better with your strength and your grace. Cat Graham, you're a shining star, a symbol of hope and love. You're a power ballad that will never fade. Force of nature, now and always. Hello and welcome to a very special Stories, the True and the Fictional. My name is J.A. Bryden, and with me, as always, Chris Park, the love guru for pandas. How are you, my friend?
Well, thank you for mentioning my pastime and one of my preferred hobbies that I've done quite some time. Like I'm not going to say that because of me, pandas are a species still around today, but I am largely responsible for making sure that the pandas, the mood is set for the pandas. You see, a lot of these scientists, their biggest problem is they try to make it happen naturally. So they put the two pandas in the same cell together, or the same cage, or the same area, and they
just assume that they'll make one.
And basically, and they stare at them and go fuck, go on, just fuck, you stupid fucking. Do you want to live? Do you want to have a speech? And I'm going, please, have you not seen any movie? So let me tell you what. I won't mention the country because obviously for legal purposes, but it was China. So they had two pandas that they just absolutely could not get to mate. So what I did was I had the male panda at a train station. I then had the female panda walk onto the train and drop her handbag and then turn around. The male panda saw the handbag, went up to get it, but the train then left. I then let the male panda ponder, wonder, have his mind, have all these thoughts through his head. And then when I put them back in the enclosure, he had the bag with him, and bam, easy. I mean, this is how you get the pandas. Again, you do various different scenarios. I mean, there's always the revenge, there's various different scenarios you can run on pandas. But one thing that I found works the best is 90s rom-com scenarios. Generally are the best ways. Dress a panda up for the prom and date the popular panda. But then initially when you first introduce the female panda, you put her in a frumpy shirt and glasses. And then, when you take that off and he sees it all and it's like, oh my goodness, like you're cool as well. These scenarios work well with pandas.
So ugly Betty, but it's ugly Panda.
Ugly Panda. Absolutely. all of these scenarios, but some pandas like some excitement. So just when they're getting close together, you then go in there and you like kidnap the female panda, and then you watch like this male panda go full Rambo style and like go John Wick style to get it back. It's a whole setup thing, but you got to understand which pandas you're dealing with. But again, going back to that amazing intro, Jay Redden. Now, you often do clips.
Yeah,
the show on Instagram.
Yep.
If I don't, you need to go after this.
I need to record it properly.
You need to record it properly. And if I do not see on our fucking channel, on our Instagram, like that song, but then with a slideshow of different pictures of Cat Graham doing that express the like again. This is the most obvious thing that we could do. This is a slam dunk, and I can't believe that again.
Now, for those who are playing at home, yes, I did the lyrics and the verse and all that was written by Chatgpt. I was just like, write me a power ballad for Cat Graham. And then yes, I put the lyrics to Journey. I used the Journey chords of Don't Stop Believing. It worked well. It was funny. I really don't want to have to use Chatgpt all the time, but it was after your poem the other week, it inspired me,
that again. Now we have a name for them now, don't we? Do we come up with a name
for Henry Cavill and Cat Graham?
Yes,
I believe we call them Gravill.
Gravill, that's right.
Gravill.
Yes, Gravill.
Not. I'm going to go and pave my driveway. I need some gravel. No, it's Gravill. Gravill. Yes. Cat Graham. Yeah. Henry Cavill. Gravill. But you got to say it like fancy, Chris. Gravill.
Now, not to steal your thunder or anything. I then asked ChatGPT to list 10 reasons why Henry Cavill and Cat Graham should date. And
yes.
And this is what it came up with. Yep.
Okay.
Number 10.
Oh, counting down backwards?
And down backwards. Genuine respect and admiration from public remarks, both Cat Graham wait. Public remarks made by both Cat Graham and Henry Cavill. It is clear they have a genuine mutual respect for each other. I don't think they've ever spoken about each other. This is essential for a healthy relationship, let alone a romantic one. Chemistry on screen. While Cat Graham and Henry Cavill have not acted together, their on-screen presence and chemistry suggest they would be electric chemistry if they were to be cast in a movie and TV. That's what I have been always saying. Okay, number 8, adventurous spirit. Both Cat Graham and Henry Cavill enjoy living the life of the fullest with a sense of adventure and willingness to try new things. They could explore new places and with thrilling experiences together. Number 7, shared values. Cat Graham and Henry Cavill are both known to be private about their personal lives and values.
They are totally dating already.
Yeah. They have spoken about the social issues bars. They share a commitment to positive change and respect. Number 6, charitable work. Both celebrities are involved and passionate about various charity causes. It would be great to see the power of a power couple raising awareness for important issues. Intelligence. Both Cat Graham and Henry Cavill are both to be known intelligent and articulate, with a passion for learning, which could make for deep and engaging conversations for each other. Professionalism. Both Cat Graham and Henry Cavill are well known for their professionalism and dedicated to the craft. They are both respected by their peers in the industry, and they would make a great team together. Number 3, similar career paths. They're both actors, obviously. Number 2, shared interests. They both enjoy fitness trends, and her TV series. While they both enjoy her TV series, okay, interesting. While Henry Cavill is also an avid fitness enthusiast and performer, they would have numerous interests in common. Yes, they're both fit, absolutely. And the number one reason why ChatGPT thinks that Henry Cavill and Kat Graham should be together: physical attraction. Both Kat Graham and Henry Cavill are extremely attractive. Oh my, it even said extremely. With stunning physiques and striking features. They would make a gorgeous pair together. I wholeheartedly agree, ChatGPT, with that sentiment.
I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you wrote this list yourself.
I did not write.
You wrote this.
I did not write that. I would write a similar list. I would write a similar list. I'm not denying that my list would be somewhat similar, or at least in a similar vein to that list. Now, speaking of lists and similar things of that nature, Demi, you said you wanted to speak something about our sponsor.
I did I say that? I thought you were going to segue into it and go, speaking of lists, this podcast is brought to you by...
You did the intro. I want you to then
round it in.
To
Well, I was going to lean that way, but now you've made it sound more clunky. But yes, this episode is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells and the Rising Dawn series. Check it out on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. Versions for either people that like it on their shelf or people that like it to carry it everywhere they go on their iPads or their. Is there another version of a Kindle for, is there?
Well, I mean, you could buy a Kindle, but I mean, most people just use an iPad now. Like, yeah. I don't think people are actually. Well, actually, no. I tell a lie. A Kindle has a nice, like, it does a nice contrast, and it also like the screen brightness. It sort of mimics a book quite well.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm pretty sure you can just download ebooks, like and then you read it on whatever device you have. But either way, you can get this book, and you too can see the adventures of Damien and
Holly, which is Kat Graham.
Holly. Yeah, which is Anna Kendrick / Kat Graham.
No. Again. So, I have had a conversation with Rebecca Cassells about this particular point, and I said, "How firm are you that it's Anna Kendrick's?" And she said, "I'm quite firm." I said, "Well, if you're firm, I don't know if we could continue to do business with each other. We've got 3 projects. We have 3 projects in the works, all about Henry Cavill and Kat Graham. And you're telling me you don't see Kat Graham?" And then she said, "It's not that I don't see Kat Graham. It's that I know that you love Kat Graham so much you'd be devastated if Henry Cavill and Kat Graham got together." I said, "No, look, I understand that they are look, I am an ant looking amongst gods. They're in a different league to me. I get that. I completely can rationalize and understand that. And like all good stories and in all good mythology and all good, we love to see how gods get together. So I think it'd be perfect, if that happened inside of their book. Speaking of things that seem perfect but are not, Jamie, I don't often hate upon the arts. But I have to hate upon art for a second.
Okay.
It vexes me. And I do mean actually vex. Have you heard of something called free verse poetry?
I have not. I think I may have, but let me just terminology.
Let me just give you a little bit of a rundown. What Google says free verse poetry is based upon top results. Free verse poetry is poetry that lacks consistent rhyming scheme, metric patterns, or musical form. While free verse prose is not devoid of structure, they allow an enormous leeway for poets. Basically, it's nothing.
So this is what it is. It's jazz for poets.
Like, particularly, okay. The reason why you write poetry. Sorry, my screen just died. The reason why you do poetry, or reason why you're writing that specifically in a specific form, is because you're showing off your craft. You're saying, I can talk about my subject in this pattern, and I can make it appealing, and I can make it work.
Yes.
You can't just say, well, the pattern's hard, so we're going to not use the pattern, but we're still going to call it poetry. Jamie, this is exactly how I feel about Disney Star Wars. You see, they understand what the pattern of Star Wars is, but they continue to try to free verse. It's just not working. Now, I will say, and let's discuss this. Season 3 of Mandalorian just aired.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers ahead. Yes.
But not really. But yes.
Well, everybody's watched it.
Everyone's watched it.
Except my brother-in-law, who he hates Mandalorian for some reason. And I was like, so you hate story, action, character development, the wonderful character development of Grogu, who, didn't just magically, hey, I can do the Force. He trained.
Yes. Now, so we've all now seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And if you haven't, fast forward.
Yes. Now,
or pause and go watch it, and then come back.
Pause and go watch it. Yeah, absolutely. Now, what did you make of it, young man?
Look, I absolutely loved it. I mean, it did have everything. Especially, it felt like Grogu definitely grew as a character. Like, he had his moments. But there was one thing that I was talking to the guys at work about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think about it until they brought it up. But one of them was like, he was 50-50 about it because he was expecting like all these characters to come in for the final battle. Like obviously, like, Gina Carano's character, who we know isn't coming back ever.
She's not coming back ever. Correct.
Yeah. But like all these characters along the way that they could have all brought in for the final battle, kind of thing. Why didn't Boba Fett turn up? It felt like something he'd be kind of, helping.
You see, when your series sucks, you don't get to when your series sucks, you don't get to join the open universe. This is
Yeah. No, but look, I loved it. It felt like an ending, and I don't want them to do more now.
And this is also, I think you struck upon the point that I was thinking about as well. That to me, that felt like a fantastic ending to the Jin Darren Grogu story.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they'll try to continue it on probably, but right now they've got a new show coming out, Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Let's let them run with that show for a while, and I think let Jin Darren and Grogu sit for. I understand that people say, oh, the Grogu merchandise is so like everyone loves Baby Yoda. It's like I think we're at the point now where if you like, I don't see as much Baby Yoda merchandise out there anymore because I think that
it's past its time.
Past its time. They've milked that cow dry. It's time for them to obviously now move on with new stories.
And they can always bring him into it. I bet you they will at some point. So bring him into it.
Of course they'll bring him into it, and that makes sense to do that with a character, sort of bring him in when needed, but sort of leave him. I think that's a good time to rest. Now, some people had issues with this entire series. As I mentioned before, I think IG and I were watching very different shows. Apparently we weren't watching the same show, which is again that's fine. But like we all know that their reviews sometimes are less than interesting.
Yes,
there were some episodes that I didn't that were less than were not as good as others. Sure, but by also comparison, it wasn't as good as season 2. But season 2 had that perfect ending, that iconic moment that you can't. What are we gonna do this ending? Like honestly, having 70 Mandalorians flying around shooting at each other was probably the best you could probably do in terms of like a good ending.
Crashing a ship,
into
the enemy base. I mean, it was great.
Actually, I will comment on that. I love the fact that he just shot out the window and jumped out.
Yeah.
Because like if he didn't, everyone would be asking, hey, he has a jetpack. Why didn't he just jump out the window? Like, yeah, exactly. You know, it was a heroic last stand until he realized, oh, wait, I could actually like literally aim this at the base.
Yeah.
And then it became less of a heroic last stand because he had a plan.
Yeah. And then that moment with Grogu and using the force bubble.
Oh yeah, that was
oh.
And it's good that he did that because that was very reminiscent. It was seen in Rebels where Kanan did the same thing where he basically stopped the Force. So it's very good. And we're about to go into the Filoni verse. We're about to step into Ahsoka, which is good. But this also brings me to another thought. My point, Jamie. You might agree with me. You might not agree with me. I have always maintained that when Star Wars isn't ripping off samurai stories and tales and not full of Jedi, it's a pretty like mediocre sci-fi. Like it's good, but it's it's just the same as the other. Same as the others. What do you think?
Look, I think it comes down to that James Gunn thing that he said a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. Not him actually, but what we talked about him saying. It all comes down to, is there a solid story? And at least for Mandalorian, I think there is a very solid story. But I don't know, because I would be more interested to see more non-Jedi stories, because it would make me feel like this is a world that isn't just pure, like it's not just one little aspect where it's just Jedi. I'd love to learn more about people, different cultures from around the universe, you know?
Yeah. And I think that like because of your love of Lack of Jedi, did you watch Andor? Show about the Zero Jedi?
That didn't appeal to me.
Well then there you go. I mean,
let's not say that it didn't appeal to me. It's like I'm feeling Star Wars fatigue. You know? So, and I heard bad things about that, you know.
It's not.
I only watched one episode of Obi-Wan, you know.
Well, no, that was a.
Yeah, you know.
You did yourself a service.
And I think the only reason I stuck out Mandalorian to the end is because I was there from the start, and I had me hooked.
Yep.
But if it started now, I don't know if I would have watched it.
Interesting. It's a valid point.
But the one thing that Mandalorian has made me think about recently, is I really want a game which is Red Dead Redemption, but with Mandalorians. Yes. Like
I think we can all get behind that concept.
Like how awesome would that be? Yeah.
Now, would you? I'm assuming you would want to, to go around the. I mean, how would you like? I mean, I guess you're sort of basing it on one world, then, aren't you? Because you're not really.
Well, yes and no. I mean, you could have like different, like you could have the Chris Park specialty of mapped areas. They go, okay, so this planet's this big.
Yes,
planet,
yes.
Like so, you go to different planets, but they've got to be, friendly for, you got to ride around on some animal,
Of course,
and have jewels,
jetpacks, and I think that would actually be really fun, because not only that, like you could be a bounty hunter, and you could literally then go do like hunt. Then every mission's going like it's like Assassin's Creed, but you're not really meant to kill the person. You got
to bring him in.
Well, no, I mean, having said that, you can bring him in like
you can bring him in dead.
Yeah,
you can bring him in warm or cold.
But I mean, but also like it really depends on the bounty though. Like you might technically meant to bring them in alive, so then you could fail that mission. Hey, if you see, there you go. Yeah. You could fail the mission. That's, to me, that sounds like a great concept.
But I don't want. I want to be annoying, and I want, when you fail a mission, it's permanent.
Dark Souls style.
Oh, not even that. There's some of the, I think Red Dead Redemption have those too.
Yeah, so basically missions where if you fail, it actually means that like
it is permanent.
It's a permanent fail. Yeah. Those are very tough because why most games don't do that,
because people hate it.
Well, no, because as soon as they fail, they just quit out and restart it.
Yeah,
like
I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. And there are some people that wouldn't. but there's also a certain game so there's a game that I love, which is back in the day, which is XCOM, where basically you have a squad and you sort of you fight aliens, and each time a squad member dies, it's permanent.
Yeah.
But then there are certain missions though, because the levels get harder, your squads get more experience, but then you got a bunch of rookies up waiting back at base, so you haven't really leveled up. So you go on a mission, 3 of the best players die, but you still like win the mission. I always just quit out and reset, because I'm going, well, then I can't actually finish a game with a shit squad. So again, the pluses, there are pluses and minuses to that, but I do agree with you. I think having a Mandalorian game would be cool. I think that'd be worthwhile.
Well, the Fallen Order sequel.
Yes.
Is it Fallen Order the first game?
Fallen Order, yes.
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor.
So it's Jedi Survivor, this one,
Survivor,
is it?
yes.
Yes. So that's out very soon.
That is out very soon, and once again showing that people love lightsabers and people like hitting people with lightsabers.
Yeah.
It's the most iconic weapon in all of, well, actually no, it's the most iconic weapon in all of science fiction and potentially even fantasy. And you're crazy, and Disney is insane for not actually. Am I glad Disney doesn't use it more? Probably, because I don't think they quite understand how they work or how the fights should work.
Laser sword.
It's more so the I mean it's more so that they just don't get it. But that's another
Which
point.
Is weird. I mean, they obviously need to put John Favreau ahead in charge of everything.
Well, he obviously, he clearly he understood.
Yeah.
Clearly he understood what a Jedi would do against a bunch of robots. It's in that fight scene. I mean, one of the moves Luke does, he doesn't even swing the blade; he just holds it out and moves it forward, because he knows I don't need to put any force behind this, because it's a lightsaber against a robot.
Yeah.
But then you have the Obi-Wan show where Obi-Wan's fighting stormtroopers, and the lightsabers like bouncing off their chests, because obviously the person was their first time doing. I think obviously it was a baby's first fight scene, and it's like, you shouldn't really be doing a lightsaber battle then.
Yeah.
Which is where I'm going to be very interesting to see that new Rey Skywalker movie, where they've announced so they announced an Academy Award-winning director, which is great. She's a documentary filmmaker, a Pakistani woman. Documentary filmmaker, makes amazing films about the plights of of Pakistani women in terms of a very very restrictive culture, and some of it and her works are great and fantastic, but they are interview documentaries.
Yeah.
They are not $200 million. They are not $200 million science fiction stories.
Hear me out. It's going to be basically what's that movie? District 9. Where Doco style. And
again, and
you're saying you wouldn't watch a Star Wars Doco style movie?
I would. I don't know. It really depends on who. Honestly, it depends on who makes it now. And this is where I'm gonna draw my I will support Star Wars because I love Star Wars, but I'm not going to support all Star Wars, because it's some, much like we've agreed upon with the MCU. There are some good MCU things we watch, and there are some we don't now, because we understand that they make shit now, and and they have no sort of pattern. But then if you see that Ahsoka trailer, it has exactly everything you'd want to see in a Star Wars story: excitement, adventure.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
That's how they get. Hey, if that's how they get you, fucking hell, man! I was looking at the trailer, going August. That is so long from now. That's bullshit. You know what the worst part is about that?
What?
They probably have it. They probably have it ready now. They're probably maybe not ready, but they probably have at least most of it ready. It's like, come on.
Maybe we need to become proper reviewers, and then we can get things early.
We would get one review, destroy the thing, and then never be allowed to go.
Well, we'd be honest, and they'd be like, "We'll slide some money if you're fair."
They do not want honest reviewers. They don't. I mean, we all know that. Of course, they don't want honest. I mean, when you're banking your entire future on something, do you want honesty? No. You want the lies. You want the Oh,
what sells.
this thing is amazing. You should totally go see it. Here are the talking points that I've been told to say about this thing to make you go see it.
Yeah.
I think but that's why I hate free verse poetry. Really, I mean, you know, to circle back.
Wait, we're talking about free verse poetry.
Yeah, if you have if you're going to say I'm going to be a poet, poets have there's a structure to poetry.
Yeah.
Try to keep to the structure because otherwise you're not just a poet. You're just like I'm writing some interesting ideas. Let me read you my interesting thoughts and ideas. Like going, although then you're just a novelist.
You know what it reminds me of.
What?
Someone told me about this recently. There was an artist that they basically gave this artist like $50,000 to do this art. Basically an art piece for the gallery. The dude left the canvas blank, and then called it "Take the money and run." And they're like, "Oh,
look! Don't get me started on the world of fine art, quote unquote fine art, and the quote unquote like what is good art in galleries, because for fuck's sake, like."
And you know what's funny? All these old art, like the Mona Lisa and Van Gogh, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Van Gogh. Yeah. They didn't have art degrees. He just went, I'm going to paint. And now you got all these people with art degrees and like, and it just looks like, someone tripped over in the toilet,
Because it's all about the meaning behind the painting. And then like they put again, if there is a painting on a wall, and then next to the painting there is like a giant wall of text explaining what the painting means, then you've obviously done a poor job of show don't tell. And I think that's kind of like the whole point. To me, I thought that was the whole point of the genres, which is basically show don't tell. Yeah. They seem to have, but again, these artists probably go on to write those films where basically there's giant exposition dumps in the middle of scenes.
Yeah. Yes. 100%.
100%. I mean, now, what else have you been perusing, young Jamie, during your time?
I went and saw John Wick again. Went down to Canberra for my uncle's 80th birthday.
Yep.
And the night before, my brother-in-law calls us up and goes, "Oh, we're going to see John Wick tomorrow night." So, Friday night it was. Do you want to just get your ticket? And I go, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll get your ticket." It was like a 9 o'clock session, 3-hour movie at 9 o'clock, and I'd just driven 3.5 hours to get there. And then I sit down in the movie theater, which is Hoyt's, my least favorite cinema.
Mm.
And then the people next to us talk the entire time.
Oh, why?
Like, I don't know. It's like, who's that? Where's John Wick? What's John Wick doing? Like the most redundant questions.
Why?
Well, yes, exactly. That was my question. But I eventually drowned them out with all the action and awesomeness. But then I realized that I don't like Canberra.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I think I used to like Canberra because I used to go down there and play music, and we were well received down there in Canberra.
Yep.
But this time, I just remembered there's no good food in Canberra.
Canberra's terrible.
Literally, but I found a pocket in Canberra, like a bubble of awesomeness. It's like they've all retreated to one little section, and they hold back the forces of every other Canberra thing, because as you saw from my social media, I went to the dinosaur museum.
Oh, yes.
And the dinosaur museum was fantastic. It's like, it's pretty small. Like, it's a 2-story building. There are giant dinosaur robots and, well, not robots, like cheap, and I say cheap, compared to Jurassic Park animatronics. Like, their eyes blink and their heads wobble, and that's about it. That stuff. But I picked up a raptor tooth. So I now own something that's 95 million years old.
That That's amazing.
It is amazing.
That's crazy.
And then if my book sells well and I make enough shishinga, I'm going to go back and get that piece of
Kryptonite.
Yes, it was essentially kryptonite. It looked the same. It was the same color as kryptonite. And it's from space. And I'm going, this tiny little thing is so freaking expensive.
You see, we
but I could
discussed.
stop Superman.
We discussed was it kryptonite or was it a kyber crystal?
Yeah.
But having said, and now the more I thought about it, because it didn't call to you, it's not a kyber crystal, or it is a kyber crystal and a Jedi. So again,
it called to me. I said, I really can't afford you right now. I'll be back.
Okay. No, if it called to you, then obviously as soon as you pick it up, I would expect someone to turn up. I would expect I would expect I would expect your Jedi Master to appear out of nowhere and start training in the ways of the Force, which is, according to Ryan Johnson, in 3 days, and then you're done, and then then you're a master.
100%.
So I do expect that. Or to your point, maybe it is So if you had kryptonite and Superman was real, what would you do with that kryptonite?
Well, I wouldn't give it to him because that would hurt him. But are we talking about Superman as he is? Like good, noble
Superman is in the world, yes. But you have kryptonite. What are you doing?
I'm keeping it, or I might let him know that I have it because I trust Superman. I wouldn't sell it to criminals and all that. No, I wouldn't.
Now, hear me out.
Okay.
You could sell it. I would sell it to Lex Luthor, obviously, for a lot of money. Because I would just believe that Superman would overcome that. I would have. It's not that I want to look at Luthor to hurt Superman. It just is I believe in Henry Cavill that much that he's going to overcome the kryptonite and yes, there might be an epic battle between him and Lex Luthor to save Cat Graham, Lois Lane. But again, I still maintain and I still trust that Superman will be able to save the world, and then I would just have a lot of money for selling kryptonite.
Yeah. But if it's Brandon Ruth Superman, he just lifts kryptonite up out of the ground like it's nothing.
That is true. He just lifts it up and it's like going, yep, no problem. This entire island's made of kryptonite. Not a problem.
And I'm stabbed with kryptonite.
No worries. Let me just pick up that kryptonite and fly it on out to the moon.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Apparently, you exaggerated a little bit about this being your biggest weakness.
Yeah. You called my bluff. But yeah, I went to the Dinosaur Museum. That was fantastic. And then there was this book cafe, which was really fast service, really good food. I literally I could not believe how fast I got my food. I got a burger and a hot chocolate, and it was almost there. It was there within 5 minutes, and it was.
But isn't that not too fast?
No, I don't know.
Wouldn't that again? If you order something, and then in a comment it comes out, isn't that a little suspicious?
No, not really. I mean, it obviously depends on what. They had a lot of people working. So look, let's say hot chocolate is really quick to make. Done. If you've got all the ingredients, you got a burger, so you got your salad, tomato. So while someone's cooking the chicken, which I had, everyone's getting everything else ready. It's kind of
but that's basically you're saying this one kitchen staff is working exclusively on your food.
Yeah, why not?
Wouldn't it be more likely that someone ordered a burger, returned it, didn't like it, and then they just reused it?
No, I don't believe it. Either way, this bookshop cafe is going to be stocking my book when it comes out in May. Is it? Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because I went down there and I was like, I perused the books they had, and I was just like, I'm an author. I got a book coming out next month, and they're like, yeah, give us the details. I was super excited. They knew about the Emu War, and then said, "Oh, which publisher are you with?" And I said, "Oh, Shoreline," and they were like, "Oh yeah, we know Shoreline. We're going to account with them." So, shida.
Well, tell them that their kitchen is suspicious.
Suspiciously fast. But one, so that'll be another good thing in Canberra, in the good bubble of Canberra.
You know that bubble is not going to be there for long, though.
No, probably
It's
not,
Canberra.
because I've told everyone. But also the most random thing happened. Let's call this my story of the week. I'm out Saturday morning, filling up for fuel, and I hop in the car just to come back, and my niece rings me up and says, I really got a craving for cake. Can you get me some cake? And I'm like, okay, sure.
Sure.
What cake do you want? Oh, any cake, doesn't matter. I go, so carrot cake's all right? She goes, no, I don't want carrot cake. I go to 7 different locations.
Yep.
All they had was carrot cake.
Outstanding.
And then I was like, okay. Finally found some random little supermarket, and they had cake that wasn't carrot cake. So I get that cake, and then I look at my nephew and I go, you know what? Let's annoy your sister. We're gonna go buy some carrot cake, and pretend like that's all, just annoy her, So we do that. We come home, and I go, oh, here's your carrot cake, and she just eats it. I thought you don't like carrot cake. No, I just didn't feel like it, but I'll eat it. And then we give her the little smart aleck. But in that process, we stopped at a bakery because we figured a bakery would have cake, right?
Yep.
Bakery didn't have cake.
What do you mean?
The bakery did not have cake.
Like, wait. What?
I know, and then I looked at the pies and sausage rolls, and they didn't look too good.
Okay. It's okay. What are they? What are okay? So, what are they baking there? If they don't have
they got pies, pastries. I will tell you this: best donuts I have ever had in my entire life. And
but isn't, I mean, here's my question to you, Jamie. Why don't you just buy her a donut? Because I mean, essentially, a donut
a cake
is a circular cake. I mean,
no, yes, I did buy donuts because, and it was just on a whim because I'd been to that many places, and the owner was kind of, I was on the phone. I go, no, they don't have cake, and it looked like oh no, we're not going to sale. And I went, okay, you know what? I'll buy 2 donuts, and I was just like, oh my freaking goodness, these are incredible. And then I came back the next day and bought like a dozen. And so if you're down in Canberra, I don't even know the name of the town. It's an Aboriginal name. It's like, and I couldn't pronounce it. NGWALAWLZ.
yeah, I'm not even going to bother trying that one. Yep.
Yeah, but it's down there. Next suburb over from a place called Nichols. See, why couldn't it be called Nichols? Because then I could pronounce it.
Maybe that's the fun of that kind of town.
But
this
is the last thing I'll say about Canberra, Chris,
because
I really want to make you go. I was in the park, and there were 3 parties.
Yep.
2 of them were gender reveal parties. Yeah.
Why?
And that's what I don't know.
Why is that? That's the dumbest,
know.
honestly, again.
I don't get why people do,
Gender, that is the dumbest idea.
Where did it even start?
I have no idea where it started. But
who do I have to time travel back to?
Well, yeah.
To do it?
If we but here's the thing, Jamie. Yeah. You get 1 time travel kill. Is that the one you're gonna use?
No, actually, I'd go back and start, and I would. I don't know if it'd kill, but I'd encourage to stop the Valley Girl accent.
You can't stop.
Yes, you can, because it I looked it up. It originated in the 80s, in a particular part.
San Fernando. Yes, that's
Yes.
why it's called. That's why it's called the
And I would
Valley.
go
'cause
back
San
there.
Fernando.
I would go back there, and I don't care. I would become a homeless person. I would walk around and go, no. Like I would follow, like no.
Jamie, you can't stop that accent. No, Jamie. Of all the again, there are some accents in America that make no sense, and there are some good ones.
Okay.
And damn it, the Valley Girl one is the best kind of accent.
Now, changing the subject back to what we're talking about. Have you heard of someone called Jenna Carvanitis?
No.
Jenna? Well, she started the whole gender reveal thing.
Now, is that worth again? So is that your one kill?
No, it really isn't. No.
It seemed, yeah. I mean,
my one kill would be the guy who invented the scooter.
Ooh, why?
I don't skateboard anymore, but this is a public service. It's not for me anymore. I don't get irritated by scooters at skate parks like I used to, because
Yep.
when they came out, I remember it vividly, because I was a skateboarder, and then these new scooter things came out, and I was like, I just remember thinking, please don't take off, and then they took off, and they were everywhere. Like, I mean, you had like 30 kids at a skate park, and they're all doing their little one thing that they can do, little tail whip, chipping up the concrete, making it really difficult for skateboarders to skate. And they basically, it's a force of destruction that comes through a skate park, chips at all the concrete, makes it impossible for you to skate.
It sounds like you do have some kind of real personal beef against skaters.
Oh yeah, because look, it used to be rollerbladers versus skateboarders. They were the end. They were the enemies.
Really?
And then scooters came along, and I'm pretty sure the skateboarders and the rollerbladers united.
Did they seal that with a marriage?
No.
But then obviously the alliance is not going to hold.
No, well, it's probably like a temporary alliance.
Temporary alliance.
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy kind of.
Yes. Yeah. The American way of diplomacy.
Yeah.
Let me arm you today so I can fight you tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it. And now that we've taken down the big bad, they slowly turn at each other.
Yeah. Oh, classic. Well, Jamie, based upon that story, I think it's safe to argue that you are now one of the greatest free verse poem writers of all time, because
free verse.
Because that was free verse poetry.
Okay.
What you just did there.
There once was a man named Chris who liked to go for a piss, and
That's
then he
poetry.
Went. No, that's the first two lines, and then I was just going to start rambling, but then you interrupted me, so you'll never know where the poem was going to go. But what I just said was a poem. In the end, let me lend a koala to David.
Well, there you go.
That's my poem.
Jamie Bryden, expert at free poetry, free verse.
That's
He's
going on a t-shirt.
clearly a man of some talents.
Just remember, in the end, lend a koala to David. All right.
I have never heard of anything more ridiculous than lending than what you just said. Like, the words that you just put into a sentence were in such a strange and unimaginative order that I just don't even understand that.
Yeah. But that's poetry, man. That's the arts.
I suppose, like, do you feel now that you are an author?
Sort of
a published author, not
soon to be published.
A published author. So that means you can now write on things like J.A. Bryden, published author.
Well, I had to for a friend of the podcast, Jack Roney. He reached out and asked us to do when you open up a book and there's like all these reviews inside.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, I had to endorse his book.
Yep.
And I signed it off with author of Letters from the Emperor. So that's.
Did you read the book?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So you read the book, yes?
I legit read, I read the book.
Mm.
I'm not gonna go like, just make something up, and pretend like I read it because
Interesting.
it's a pretty unique. Well, it's murder and
Interesting.
detectives and murder.
Interesting. Well.
What?
Well.
Well, Wheaton.
I'm going to do this in the most James Bond way possible. Well, now, Mr. Bryden, it appears you've talked yourself into a little bit of trouble now, haven't you?
How have I done
Reading a book. Imagine I'm stroking a cat whilst, behind me a giant laces are prepared to cut you into tiny pieces. Reading a book because someone asks you to endorse said book, and yet it is known to me that you've yet to read our sponsor's work.
No, I have started. I've started.
But you started. But in order to endorse that book, you had to finish the book, didn't you? Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, you know what it came down to?
What?
Deadline.
You see,
Give me a deadline and it'll happen.
your deadline was, hi, I'm going to sponsor your podcast. At that point, you should have read
that's the starting point.
No. At that point, you should have wholeheartedly finished the book. Oh, don't you show me the book.
Welcome to the Stories of the True and the Fictional, where we read through the chapters of live of Rebecca Cassells, the Rising Dawn series. First book called Sparked Revolution. Chapter 1. Damien. Henry Cavill voice. Henry Cavill.
Go, Henry Cavill.
I honestly don't understand why you and Dad keep trying to force this, Damien said as he followed his parents out to the front of the pack house where they were waiting to greet their honored guests. Oh, to be continued.
Oh. Okay, you know what?
Look at that promotion.
You have a deadline. And I'm going to, and because I think it's time that I, on behalf of a gracious patron of the arts, Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series, available on Amazon, Kindle, and all good booksellers. I believe it's time that I stand up for author as her favorite amongst us. And it's not because she's my writing partner and we have several projects in the works. It is because I wholeheartedly believe that if you're going to sponsor something, you at least have to read it, obviously. And if you've had the person on twice on this show, you are not Dave Letterman. You are not, what's another one? Conan O'Brien. You are not that other guy who I can't remember because he annoys me so much.
What
Jimmy
about,
Kimmel. That's the one.
What about the British dude?
Craig Ferguson? No, I love Craig Ferguson.
No, not American. He's actually British and has a British talk show. And he was in Eurovision with Will Ferrell. Oh, it is killing me. Who is he?
You're not that British guy that Jamie can't remember because of...
Yeah, very flamboyant too. I honestly can't remember. I can't remember his name. He's pretty famous. He's on the TV late at night.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
And he has the red chair where if an audience member tells a boring story, they yank the. Okay, you know what? I'm going to find this out right now.
Go for it. Oh, Graham Norton. That's the one.
That's the one.
Yes, is he? Okay, yeah, yes. Back to my beloved point. You're not a Graham Norton.
I don't know. I'm pretty there. I like getting.
You can't just then go. The book is called this. Go out and read it. It's great. And have no.
No, you see what I do?
You are.
I get the author on. I get the author to come on and tell people why they should read it.
Yeah,
and
that's what
entice them.
That's what they all do, and then they do the little like, oh yes, go get this book out now, go see this movie now. But no, she comes to us for the personal touch, which means she expects a great deal more from you.
Ever since he can remember, on the first day of summer, the Alpha and Luna from the Hallowed Moon pack would arrive with their only daughter for an official visit where they would only stay a few days before standing Damien and his parents with their daughter. I'm sorry, I'm a terrible reader.
You are
Until the end of no, I am. I've literally probably read 5 books in my life.
5 said the author.
Hey, there's a reason I write. And
like I'm a reader.
No, like I am a slow reader. But you know what? I am about to start I have officially started at the time of recording a 4-day weekend. So I'm going to read at least 1 or 2 chapters of this 55 chapter book.
Wait. A couple of chapters you should be able to knock out in a single night.
Me or you?
Any person with a modicum of comprehension of reading.
No, I'm literally a slow reader.
You know what?
I'm going to commit to this 1 chapter a night.
Good.
And in 55 weeks,
55 weeks,
I will get back to you.
All right. You know what? 55 weeks. I'm gonna hold. No, you know what? I think that's too. What's the word I'm looking for?
That's like a year. So maybe I should say 2 chapters a night.
No, that's not. Yeah, that's.
Let me see how long these chapters are. Because at least with Jack Roney's book, they were very short. No, well, look at that. No, these are pretty short chapters. So at least the first couple are.
Yes. So I expect now that you should be able to then finish this book. I want you to make right now in front of your loyal listening fan base, in front of your sponsor, in front of God himself. I want you to make a clear declaration that you will finish the book in a timely manner using the best Braveheart style speech you can muster without Chatgpt. Go.
I don't know if I can do a Scottish accent like you,
Okay,
Chris.
don't do do the heroic accent, which is Northern English, apparently, according to old Moose now.
Northern England. No, you see, I don't know if I can do that.
Just do anything.
Just do anything.
Just do your normal Jamie.
I, J.A. Bryden, swear to Rebecca Cassells and everyone listening that I will finish Sport Revolution by Rebecca Cassells in a timely manner. And then I will apologize for this terrible accent that sometimes sounds Irish, but then Jared Butler.
Like Jared Butler.
What you I said sometimes Jared Butler.
Jared Butler, the most Scottish Spartan alive.
I swear, for this is Sparked Revolution. I will read your book, Rebecca, if you're listening. And
then we'll let the entire world know that J.A. Bryden, author, soon to be, and creator of the Emu Wars saga, soon to be, is a man who can finish what he started. Do you want to be known, Jamie, as a man who can finish what he started?
Oh, it depends. Yeah,
Depends.
I'm pretty easy. You know, I like open endings.
Name one open ending you like.
I Infinity War.
Huh?
That was open at the time. It was open.
No, but you knew that there were. Okay, you knew there was one coming after that, right?
Okay, Chuck. I didn't mind the ending of Chuck. That was pretty open.
Okay, that was open-ish. I wouldn't call that specifically open. That's close, but it's not a true open ending. Because there was a resolution.
Was there?
Yes. They kiss at the end. That basically that sealed the fucking deal.
But she felt nothing.
You don't know that, and it was very clear that she felt.
That's what the open.
You know, when she was sitting there, and when he was telling them the story of them, you could see in her eyes the smile, the laughter, and then it said like, "Oh, there's this crazy idea. If you could maybe remember." Then she said, "Yes," like she jumped straight in. So obviously, look, she was on board that train again.
Mm-hmm.
But I Google your movie. And name said film, sir. Name said film. Or can you not?
Oh, let's see. Let's see.
As I suspected.
Okay, no, I haven't seen that one. Prisoners is a good movie. Did you ever watch Prisoners?
Prisoners?
With Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman?
No, actually, I don't think I have.
And it was one of those ones that came out of nowhere, and it's like Hugh Jackman being very violently angry without claws.
No, I can't say that because that's just too weird for me.
It's like 10 years old. Yeah, his kid gets kidnapped, and he knows who it is, but there's no proof. But he's 100% sure it's him. Like, he's convinced that it's this guy that's kidnapped his kid, and he goes full on. Lock him in a bathroom and torture him, and where's my son? Like full on.
Full on.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that. Haven't seen that. Saw Inception. Is Inception really an open ending?
Look, honestly, I think that's look. In terms of obviously you don't have one, so I think I win this. I win this argument. But no. Inception's close. I'd say. Yep. I think you'd say Inception's close to being like as close as you potentially get to basically an open ending as anything.
Now, here you go. Kick-Ass 2.
How was that an open ending?
You remember the end of it? It was getting ripped up, and
it was trained to be okay. That's not an open ending. That's not like going, what happens next? Like that's like, no, that's a he's become the hero. The end. Like that's not an open ending.
Did you watch the very end, the post credits?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know there was one until a few years ago. No, Red Mist survives.
Okay. No, that's not an open ending. An open ending is basically, a perfect example. Sopranos cutting to black.
Oh yeah, that's amazing because it annoyed people.
Yes,
but I never watched Sopranos.
Aha! Once again, proving that. Again,
I will commit to watching all of Sopranos. Get to the end and go, I like that ending.
You'd be honestly. There are a lot of people that do like the ending. So, like, again, yeah, there were some people that were mad. The truth, no, fair enough. Okay,
that's like the perfect example of an open ending.
That is the perfect example of an open ending. Like, it's I don't think you can get any more open than just basically cutting to fucking black.
That's funny.
All right.
Yes.
So, to wrap up your thoughts on open endings and also free poetry.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts on open endings, free poetry, or any other topics you'd wanted to that you wanted to touch upon?
Not that I can think of. I think we had a pretty good long episode. I mean, we had no plan for this episode, so we just winged it.
We did. Don't let people know the plan.
Don't worry, I'll edit it out if they
remember. The one good thing about the CW TV series
is that they're ending.
Well, yes, that's is the line that Captain that Leonard Snart said, which is still one of the favorite thing, about plans. We go, and I apologize for my terrible Leonard Snart accent. There are only 4 things you need to remember. Make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go off the rails, throw away the plan. And I still think that is the greatest message that I can give to anyone in life, not let alone when you're trying to do a heist, like Leonard Snart is often doing. In life, you start off with an idea of what you want to do. You try to achieve that. It doesn't go well. It doesn't go exactly as to plan. But you could doggedly stick to that and try to lower his head and push through the wall like J.A. Bryden does on all scenarios. Or you could be one of a flexible mind and think, act, react, and then you will still end up at the goal or outcome you are aiming at. And that's the one thing I tell all the pandas that I work on in the breeding, in the breeding, and also the panda dating websites that I then set up for them so they can obviously meet other pandas. Is you've got to have a plan of how you're going to approach. You then have to understand the plan is going to fail, and then you need to react and adapt.
So, what's the app called for your panda dating? Is it Pandering?
Honestly, damn, that's a good one. I don't think I can come up with a better one than that. Damn, you know what? That app doesn't exist, but we need to coming soon. Pandering, dating app for pandas.
And you go swipe. You have no people left in your.
You have no people left in your species. It's like, oh. Should we let some brown bears sneak up on the app as well? Just to really throw out like
yeah. No. Well, maybe that should be just for bears. You can call it bearable or something like that.
Oh, I like that.
Or bearing or
bearable.
I don't know.
The dating app for bears. Absolutely. Now you obviously as the bears can set their their genome, their species, their region, but if a grizzly wants to get down with a sun bear, I don't think we could then,
But the question is, are we going to let koalas on because they're technically not a bear?
And I don't like the fact they don't have a brain, or their brain is smooth, so they don't actually have cognitive reason and thinking. So I don't think that's an animal that should be dating.
No.
Let alone like anything it does.
I don't think they have trouble finding a partner. So.
No, they're obviously fine. But no, you raise an ethical conundrum on that. On what is the legal age for a bear? I don't like
Wow, we're gonna have a lot of sound bites for this episode.
I will leave you all with that thought in your mind. I want you to go home and think. What is the legal age for a bear? What is the legal age for a bear dating app?
And if you come up with it, send us your thoughts and your notes to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com, or send us a message on Instagram, stories_podcast, and we'll share it with everyone here. But we may even do an episode where we get different bears on to talk about their swiping.
Because I'd like to think that a polar bear and a grizzly bear will meet. And they'll fall in love. And they'll create the ultimate... Oh my god, that's how panda bears came to be. Good night, everyone!